everyone, welcome to season 3 of Making Waves. Today is a special day because today is our Valentine's Day episode.
Yay!
Yay! Again, my name is Angela, she, her, hers.
I'm Jonathan, and I go by he, him, and his.
I am Suksavan, they, them pronouns.
I'm Becca, she, her pronouns.
And if you haven't checked out our first episode, go ahead and also check that out. And before we begin, again, we're going to do our introduction with our land acknowledgements and our vision statement.
Yeah, and so since our staff is currently here in Corvallis as well in Arizona, we wanted to acknowledge that Oregon State University in Corvallis, Oregon is located on the traditional homelands of the Marys River or Apinefu Band of Kalapuya. Following the Willamette Valley Treaty of 1855, Kalapuya people were forcibly removed to reservations of Western Oregon. Today, living descendants of these people are part of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians. For Phoenix, Arizona, it is on the traditional homelands of the Acamil, Atham, and the Salt River, Maricopa, Prima Native communities.
Alright, so here at Making Waves, we try and illuminate the experiences of Asian and Pacific Islanders at Oregon State University. Facilitating a dialogue surrounding culture and diversity, we hope to dive into some of the complexities of the Asian and Pacific Islander experience through topics such as pop culture, social identity, multiculturalism, etc. Among the many topics we wish to cover, we hope folks can resonate with our stories as well as expose yourselves to new ideas and perspectives.
Okay, great. So for today, we're just going to start with a little bit of what is Valentine's Day and what is our history behind it. As we know, last time we heard about the history of Valentine's Day was probably in elementary school, right? So Valentine's Day came from both Christian and ancient Roman traditions. And there was a lot of theories. There's not exactly one about what happened to St. Valentine's Day or where it came from. But one theory that was a little bit less morbid was that Valentine was killed for attempting to help Christians escape harsh Roman prisons that were often beaten and tortured. So according to this Valentine theory, he was imprisoned, and that was the first Valentine greeting that he gave to a girl that he fell in love with, and that was the daughter of his inmate. And that's where the first note that he wrote that said "from your Valentine," which is now the expression we use today, was created. Just a little fun fact. And then to talk about our first question of today, what is our favorite thing about Valentine's Day? What is our memory that we've had? What do we don't like about it is also an option too. Valentine's Day, I do remember making those Valagram boxes in elementary school. I don't know if anyone else did that. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And then you could decorate it, and then people would put their little cards in it with the candy.
Yeah, that was what probably fun then. I think it's still fun, but I remember doing that. I also really enjoy the heart-shaped candies that come out. I really like have you had the cinnamon chews that are in heart shapes? They're so good. And also I am a huge fan of rom-coms and anything rom-com related. Doesn't matter the holiday, doesn't matter whatever. I love rom-coms, and so it's set me up to I don't even recognize Valentine's Day because I've been single forever. But I like the idea of rom-coms and Valentine's Day, but just haven't celebrated it.
Yeah, I think that's a totally funny thing too that we should probably mention. We don't all have a lot of dating experience, except for Jonathan here, but but we do have our positives and our ideas about it. Mm-hmm. If we're not qualified.
Wait, didn't you guys do the candygrams and stuff in high school or middle school either? Or was it just elementary school?
Oh, they did that, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think in middle school and high school, there would always be like pressure being like, oh, did I get one?
I know,
But then,
like when
like,
they walk in and you're
right?
like, is it for me?
But then like your friends will like give it to you and they'll be like, oh, I got one. It's like from your like BFF. But yeah, I do remember like in elementary school, like the pressure of, do you guys like buy the little like cards that they sell and then like you
Oh,
write your
yeah.
name like to and from,
Mm-hmm.
and then you would like pick, oh, like this one's my favorite, I'm gonna give it to like my friend, or like, oh, this is the one that says like rar, I love you, I'm gonna give it to that one boy.
Okay, I was the one that was like, I would just open it to see if like there was candy inside or if there was a candy piece connected to it, and then the rest I was like, I'm not really interested in, TBH.
I was the troll in middle school that would send it all to my guy friends and then make it like it's like a romantic letter from a girl or whatever that they liked.
Oh, I love that.
That's so funny.
Okay, yeah. I think that's like the biggest incentive of the holiday is just getting the candy. I feel like that's what kids
Mhm.
like associate with Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, is there any like awkward moments you guys ever had? Either like on Valentine's Day, getting to be asked to be someone's Valentine? No? Me neither.
Yes. yes,
I'm kidding, yeah.
100%. I think one, I am the awkward part of this. Like I feel like I am really awkward, but also I am not really awkward. So I think like when someone's awkward, I get really awkward, and I've had a lot of moments where it's just like awkward, like hanging out, and like in the queer community, it's like I'm like, are we hanging out to hang out, or are we hanging out to like, because I mean, not like that,
We
not
have
like that,
interests.
not,
Oh, okay.
not what you all were thinking, but like the like, yeah, if there's like interest between us, or like what, you know, like what do you want? And I, maybe that's just in like everybody, because I've had a lot of like straight friends that are like, I don't know, it's been hard dating, and I'm like, how you have like, you match with everybody that you swipe right on and I'm over here like nothing.
I think that's such a true point because like nowadays like hookup culture is such a thing. Like no one knows really what the other person's intentions is because we're just so used to like the hookup is like normalized.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, yeah.
And then going back to like just the definition of the term date is just, I think, so different now compared to back then. Like you hear, oh yeah, we're dating now, or like I'm gonna go on a date with this guy, but like you're not together, or like yeah, like just how do you even define what a date is or what is dating nowadays, you know?
Off of that too, I think a lot of people like end up having mutual feelings for each other, but they never know when to like make it official. Cause like I know people in my life that like they don't actually know when they started dating because it just kind of happened. So I think that goes along with like what defines the date kind of too.
Yeah, and I've also had like, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
Actually, I do. Okay, I do. Okay, so I think it's also like, oh, I don't want to say date because what if they don't feel the same way, and maybe both of you are feeling that, and so it gets hard of like, what are we defining this, or like, sometimes I've encountered this experience where it's like, oh, we should hang out, and it's like, oh, like, hang out as friends, hang out as what, you know, do you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I think it would be weird to be like, I don't think weird actually. I think I am following society's like norms of like calling it weird to be like, hey, do you, being straightforward of like, do you want to go on a date? And I think a lot of us, like, we built up walls to protect ourselves from being like, I don't want to get rejected, so I'm not gonna ask you on a date. I'm just gonna say hang out.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have the fear of getting rejected, so they're very like vague with the way they might ask someone out.
Mm-hmm.
For like in my experience, like when people are like, "Oh, do you want to like go get coffee or like let's go get food?" And then you realize, like, a little bit later within the day is like, is this a date? So then, like, now I'm left confused, being like, I don't know what your intentions are.
Mm-hmm.
But do you count it? If they didn't say the word date, would you count it as a date?
100%.
100%?
Oh, you know what's also not weird? I feel like I'm falling into social norms, so if any listeners are out there, don't clock me on it. But like when they're like, "Oh, let's hang out," and then they pay for your stuff, and you're like, "Oh, okay. So what is this?" And if like you're into it, you're like, "Okay, I'll just play into it." But if you're not, you're like, oh shoot, I thought we were just gonna hang out, you know, and you bought my stuff. I feel bad now. So it definitely just like it's so I told you all, I'm awkward. That's like 98% of all the experience I've been through.
No, I totally feel that. I feel like if I'm not interested in someone and then they offer to pay for everything, then I'm like, ooh, they viewed this as a date when I didn't, and then I like am so adamant. I'm like, no, I'm paying for my half. Like, you do not need to pay for me. And like yeah, that gets pretty awkward too. But I think a lot of like the whole like mystery behind like, oh, is this a date or not? I think, do you guys think it's like related to like social media and stuff? Because if you do end up meeting in person, it feels way more awkward than texting or whatever. Or do you think that's like not a thing?
No, I do. I think that's a thing. Yeah. Like
Okay.
like I know that I might the way I text is not the way I talk sometimes. And so it's like you never know what you're gonna get from like texting. Like knowing that about myself and then applying it to someone else is like I might come off more awkward than I did in text, or like I might come off more cheery than I did in text, you know? So it like I think that lost in translation, not translation, but like lost in miscommunication through text or tone, it like comes across. So like if you're only talking through that, then I think it like that is it's hard. I feel like you
Yeah,
can't determine like how that person really is.
I feel like after like hearing Suksavon, yeah, I would agree, because I feel like if it's basically off of just like texting and not really like interacting in person, I would probably talk in a totally different way that I would if I actually had to meet them in person. I'd probably be a little bit more like flirty or just like more fun texting, because then I'm not worried about or scared about seeing them or like actually having to meet them.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you actually do have to see them, you're like totally like, I am awkward and I'm shy and I don't know why I said all that stuff.
Yeah, but that also I think also the thing is like you can think about your response, while when you meet up in person, you have to go while thinking about your response.
That's so true. I totally agree.
I'm that dude with the read messages off, so
Me too.
That like swipe on the Snapchat to read it and then think about it. Exposing myself.